We're here.
If you want to know, turn to the PriMalLow Wrestling Show with Tom Malloy, Robert Price, and your host, Rich Lopez.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 12 of the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Rich Lopez, here with my two colleagues, Robert Price and Tom Malloy.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up there?
Changed locations. Usually we do this in the dining room, but it's a little too hot in my apartment, so we changed to my bedroom where we have the AC going on. So just to talk about what's on the card, we have the Raw recap, which, in my opinion, I thought was awful, but we'll talk about that. And also our weekly topic discussions, our wrestling finishing moves losing credibility.
We're also going to have a new segment. What's this segment called?
Best and worst, where we discuss our opinionated best and worst gimmick matches.
We're also going to have buy or sell. Hopefully Tom can get through this.
Hopefully, I wrote it down in the script.
This week's topic is going to be wrestler feud comparisons. Speaking of Tom,
We're going to finish our show with our self high five, the next wrestler/wrestlers who are going to join the Authority.
Hopefully you guys will tune in, and without further ado, let's move on with the show.
Voices in my head, they count to me, they understand, they talk to me.
Okay, so Raw just took place a couple days ago. They were trying to build the Battleground storylines with Reigns, Wyatt, Owens, Cena, the Authority versus Lesnar. I didn't see enough matches. I saw a lot of recaps and promos backstage, but that's my opinion. I'll turn it over to Price. What did you think about Raw? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Raw sucked. I laughed the entire time and was talking to my friend Tommy the entire time.
So you didn't pay attention, is what you're saying?
No. It was a lackluster.
Yeah, you're right.
Lackluster Raw. What I meant. What? Ryback and Big Show segment. I mean, I like what they're going with it. I mean, the triple threat is what they should have had at Money in the Bank to begin with. I also like the Kevin Owens Cena thing.
That's stupid.
However, here's the
Rosetta
thing.
Stone
Okay,
style. I ain't about that.
Cena is like, oh, they don't boo you because of this. They don't boo you because you're a foreigner. And then he says, I could speak in every language. He says, I could speak in French. I could speak in Chinese. I could also speak in full-blooded American. So he just was a hypocrite about what he said, and he basically just made it out to being him, the American, versus Owens, the Canadian.
What do you think Owens made that happen? Well, let's just go to Malloy. Is that all you want to talk about?
Yeah, other than that, Raw sucked.
I agree with both you guys. Raw did suck. I kind of like I'm starting to get into the Lesnar-Rollins feud a little bit more.
I agree.
I like it. I like the concept. I like how, Rollins is asking for his friends back in the Authority, and it's pretty much just so he can have help fighting against Lesnar. I'm also getting into the Reigns and Bray Wyatt feud. It's pretty cool how he's incorporating his daughter, and it's
I heard they're not going to use him.
It's making more real life. I think it's kind of cool. It's making him still the face of fear. But overall, though, I think Wyatt needs to win this feud to be back where he once was.
One note for everybody: either Bray Wyatt bought that tea set, or he already had that teapot in his possession. Also, Joey Mercury had broke 3 ribs.
No, Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble broke 3 ribs.
Yeah.
So
that's because Lesnar's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw
the matches are awful. Excuse me? I told you that. I said he had to get hurt because Mercury came back in the ring. How come Noble did? So I thought something that definitely happened.
Yeah.
The Wyatt Reigns storyline, I like it, but I heard they're not going to incorporate the daughter, so I think this is irrelevant. I think they're just doing it to give a personal, touch to the storyline just to get Reigns over once he beats Wyatt, which I will be upset about. The Rollins and Lesnar feud, I like. Obviously, they just did that injury angle, so Lesnar could be off TV for the next 3 weeks and come back for the go-home edition.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do, though, with the Authority, because I don't know. I just think I'm sensing a turn. Obviously, we all know. I'm reading reports that Rollins is going to go babyface, so I'm going to be intrigued to see how that happens. So, but yeah, other than that, it was just a lot of recapping. They really need to go back to 2 hours.
One note, though, I'd like to make is the Neville versus Kofi match wasn't that bad.
No, Neville, whenever he goes into a ring with actually a high flyer / wrestler, someone near his style, it's always going to be a good match.
That was the best match of the night, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah, it was.
the match.
All right, so here's my thing, because there's really not that much to talk about. Like I said, it was a lot of recap and stuff like that. Owens and Cena. Are they pushing Owens too fast?
No,
No? Why?
because everybody that had watched Ring of Honor, everybody that had watched any other form of wrestling other than the mainstream WWE knows who Kevin Steen is and knows what he is capable of and where he should be on the card. He's just like what CM Punk was, except CM Punk had to struggle for a couple years to get where his position was.
And then the thing is also, too, I don't think he's being pushed fast enough. He's probably going to be the fastest pushed person in NXT besides Samoa Joe, because they're still trying to brand out the name of NXT, showing how good the roster is down there, see if they can make it on the main roster. And also agreeing with Price said, I mean, he's been around now for 15 years.
Okay,
Doing
but I heard good
independent
points
play.
about him versus Lesnar and at SummerSlam. You think that's too fast or no?
No, that's because, I mean, who else could? Lesnar needs
Okay,
to
but
fight
here's
big
my thing.
people, though. He needs
Who's
to
that
fight.
from?
He needs to fight somebody who complements his style
Okay, so
as well.
so he loses. What happens?
Who, Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
Goes
He's
back
not
into feud with someone
he's
else.
not the huge beast, but he also shows it where like he was gonna fight Samoa Joe. He backs away because he knows that Samoa Joe can easily destroy him as well. So he is that bully heel.
I don't know. I understand you want to, get a new fresh face in there. I just don't understand. Like, obviously, feuds comes down to win and losses. I think he's gonna beat Cena, become the U.S. title or U.S. champion. Excuse me. I just don't understand what they would do with him after.
But you look at the fans, like where they're going now. They're going into Japan. I mean, the international fans that see him don't care about wins or losses. American fans, they care about wins and losses, but
no,
I mean,
I'm just talking about keeping the character strong. Look at Wyatt. He hasn't been the same for the last year and a half.
Well, look at
because of
Dean-
wins and losses.
look at Ambrose. Look, he lost over and over again, but because he put on this great show, he's still white hot, and he was still being pushed to the top.
I guess I can see what you're saying. Yeah. Any thoughts, boy? No.
Nah, Rod sucked.
Well, yeah, we know Raw was terrible. But I just want to, because we had an extra couple minutes, we couldn't talk enough about Raw, so I figured I'd throw that question out with Kevin Owens. So, from one quick topic, we're going to go to our weekly topic discussion where we talk about wrestling finishing maneuvers.
Evolution is a mystery, full of chains that no one sees.
Okay, I pretty much just made this question up because I remember in the Steve Austin podcast, he was talking with Paul Heyman, and they were talking about psychology of wrestling finishers and what do you think needs to be done about it. So I pretty much just wanted to bring it to our show. Do you think wrestling finishers are losing credibility? Do you think there's too many kickouts when a wrestler's hit with a finisher? And do you think superstars throughout the entire match go to the finisher too much to where it's going to be a counter? Do you think this psychology is working? Should WWE continue with it, or should they try to think of new psychologies to keep the matches entertaining? Start off with Malloy.
Okay. Overall, I think like I was trying to put it like when I was thinking about it last night when I was writing out this idea. Like on Raw, you shouldn't see like Randy Orton busting out like 17 RKO's during a match to win a match because he's a big guy. He's been around for a long time. Now the one RKO out of nowhere, that's fine. Not he attempts it, he fails. He attempts it, he fails, and he finally gets it. I think it should be a solid wrestling match back and forth until said competitor hits their finishing move down a Raw. Now in a pay-per-view, there's build up. There's gonna be a lot of animosity there, and putting more into the match. That's getting the fans like, oh my god, this is awesome. Then like, oh man, he missed it. Like that's the way I was thinking about it.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
How are you, Price?
No, I don't think that they should change it. I think that the whole thing with finisher totally evolved. Back when we were watching it in the 80s and early 90s, somebody hits their finisher. Okay, I could turn my head. Maybe I could flip the channel. This time, when people hit their finishers, you actually have a surprise factor. Will they actually get the pin? We don't know anymore.
Cena always kicks out at 2.
Somebody always hits a finisher, and it's a toss-up. But, however...
Well,
this only happens ever so often. Me and you were discussing before this about like one match that we were talking about in particular was Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. He hit 1 or 2 RKOs in that match.
Well, no, here's my thing. Well, we were talking about this because I was going to give you a spin-off question. because you said you actually don't mind it. Does it hurt the legends when they come back? Like I told you, Jake Roberts, when he came back on that Raw, old school Raw, and attacked the Shield, hit a DDT. How come Ambrose sold it, but in another match, say he's in a match with Rollins, gets hit with the DDT, kicks out at 2? Why?
Because he's a bigger star.
Because
that's what I'm saying, psychology. So why do you think, like, I don't understand, like, as a fan, obviously it's entertaining.
Right.
It's really entertaining.
To answer your question, for Jake Roberts, he perfected that. That was his finisher. And you've seen him consistently. As a wrestling fan, we have really good remembering skills of this. And whenever Jake Roberts hit that, you were done.
Yeah.
Unlike, we were saying before, Ziggler has the DDT, Ambrose has the DDT. They didn't perfect that.
Yeah. Okay, it's understandable. So you like the psychology still to this day,
Yeah, sometimes they overdo it.
Yeah, because
sometimes they don't.
You and I were talking before the show while we were waiting for Tom, but see, I thought I don't mind it that much. I mean, here's my issue with it. I told you there's only 2 matches where I believed so far that, or maybe even when Undertaker lost at the streak, but I just thought about that on top of the dome. But before that, I thought there was 2 matches where you could allow multiple kickouts to happen and it'd be acceptable. At WrestleMania 15, when it was Austin Rock, because it was the hottest time, it was the 2 hottest stars, and it was at WrestleMania. So The Rock had to take 3 stunners, or was it 2 or 3?
It was 3, I believe.
Okay. Don't quote me, please. And then the other one was at WrestleMania 25 with Michaels and The Undertaker. Because that build-up, they're the 2 longest tenured superstars. It's at the silver anniversary of WrestleMania. It's the streak versus Mr. WrestleMania. And, I think that had to happen for it to be a great match. And I think that's what made it so great. Now, that's when there's multiple finishers. Now, for me, when they went to the well too many times, was Rock vs. Cena at 29.
Where they attempted
because
5.
they attempted, like, an incredible amount, and it wasn't even entertaining.
That match was awful.
It was awful. So, I guess, obviously, like you said, you have to find that, fine line, and you have to perfect it.
Yeah.
But, just to pretty much bring that full circle, I agree with you. At a Raw, I should take 1 finisher and 1 finisher only.
That's Tom.
I agree with Tom. Yeah, sorry. Maybe 1 pay-per-view, like a Battleground or Payback. I could kind of understand a 1 finisher victory, maybe depending on if the feud is going to close out on that pay-per-view.
1 or 2.
Maybe 1, maybe 2.
But
at SummerSlam or WrestleMania, I'll give you the 2 finisher limit.
At a Big 4.
The Big 4, yeah.
The Big 4.
Royal Rumble Survivor
It's the
Series,
best
SummerSlam,
of
WrestleMania.
3.
Yes.
Whoever hits the 3rd finisher, they should.
It's going to happen.
That's
Or something
usually
new.
what happens. But I agree. I somewhat agree with what you're saying with that. On a Raw, there shouldn't be 7 finishers.
Yeah.
Or if, like, a wrestler, just say Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar, which is going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be that the New Day comes in and Lesnar just goes through him.
Yeah.
But continue.
Regardless, Lesnar hits Kofi Kingston with F5. That should be the end of the match.
I agree. 1
Now, if Kofi hits Lesnar with
Trouble in
Paradise,
Lesnar gets right up.
he should either A, reverse
depending on
it,
the sides.
B,
Okay,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand.
Now, if you want to look back to, I believe, 2002, King of the Ring, Rob Van Dam versus Brock Lesnar.
King of the Ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, he got a date right.
Because Lesnar wasn't the beast then. Lesnar was just like this.
He was the next big thing.
He's the next big thing, you know? So, Van Dam was pretty much his size at that point in time. Now you got...
No.
Hey,
Lesnar was a freak of nature just like he is now.
Yeah, but still, Van Dam was more... He was hot then.
Well, no, they're both hot. But, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but the legend thing you're okay with? Like, because you...
Yeah. Because everybody knows.
They perfected their thing.
Everybody knows. Just like if Randy Orton came back 10 years from now and just came out and he did 1 RKO, whoever that is that's inside that ring should lay down.
Okay. See, I remember I told you the thing because you brought up the Cena Stunner versus Austin. And I said, he's doing a modification of it, but obviously it's not executed like Austin's.
Right.
But then you brought up RKO, right?
I brought up the RKO.
I said the reason why I think Randy Orton's looks 10 times better than the Diamond Cutter, even though if you watch some of Diamond Dallas Page's matches, actually, they might be executed better.
Earlier ones.
Yeah, but Orton's is different because he could do it from anywhere. He took that and he put it he executed it anywhere in the ring. He's done it off attitude adjustments. He's done it off of the curb stomp. You know what I mean? He started off all that. DDP just did it in the middle of the ring, and like I said, or he did it on the second rope. I think he did once or twice.
Yeah.
And the way he executed the neck was a little different.
That
too,
was
with the dropping pot, the dropping period.
That was I was asking if like it hurt or helped, like when somebody would take the same exact move.
I mean, if you take the same exact move, it's definitely not going to help.
Right.
Because you brought up Tommy too, right? If you want to elaborate on that
Hideo Itami, which was a carbon copy of CM Punk, and
He's
what
the
a lot of
originator.
people don't know, CM Punk, his entire moveset is based off of Itami. So I said to you, Rich, before the show that, in my opinion, that hurt him because now Itami can't do the GTS. That was his move.
And
he cannot do that.
Can he do the running knee still?
He
'Cause that
does.
was
He
Daniel
does
Bryan's
the running
move.
knee, but he only did the GTS once in NXT, and it was an NXT live. He won't do it on television.
No, he
they
can't.
want to shy away from that.
No, they definitely can't now, especially more than anything.
Because and you know CM Punk, he's probably sue happy right now. He'll probably
He can't.
sue.
No, he can't. So he left them.
can't.
He left them. But yeah,
It's a
okay.
breach of contract. That's besides the point. But
Yeah. So I mean, I guess long term, house shows or Raw tapings, SmackDown tapings, I accept one. I would only allow one finishers.
Right.
That's even including main events. Depending on the pay-per-view, 1 to 2. So that's our conclusion of the weekly topic discussion. We're going to skip the game show. Hopefully you guys aren't too disappointed.
I am. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Well, we'll wait a couple weeks. We'll give you some. We'll give you a couple bye weeks to prep. So we're gonna skip that this week, and we're gonna go to our new segment, which is best and worst.
Voices calling, I feel justice calling, I see faith has fallen. I hear voices in my head.
Okay, this segment, best and worst. This is always gonna regard gimmick matches. Maybe we could talk about something else, but as of right now, for the next couple weeks, and whenever we talk about this, it'll be gimmick matches. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give ourselves this gimmick match, which is this week it's the I Quit match and the cage match. We're each gonna give our our best and our worst of the matches. So we'll start off with Price. What was your best I Quit match?
Terry Funk versus Ric Flair, Clash of Champions.
Okay, why was that?
Because it was just crazy. I'm sure.
For that era.
Yeah, it was crazy for that era. The stuff that was done in it. I mean, Ric Flair or Terry Funk tried to put the other person through a table, didn't work. Almost
Didn't
broke
work.
somebody's neck.
Somebody slid, didn't Terry
somebody-
Funk slide over the table?
He slid over the table. Terry Funk was running away from Ric Flair, picked up a chair, threw it. Something you can't do today because anybody that got hit by that chair would have sued the company.
Terry Funk is the most uncoordinated hardcore wrestler I've ever seen.
And,
no,
yeah,
Sabu is the most.
we seen,
He can do actually stuff off the rope though.
but also we seen that Terry Funk and Ric Flair during that match jumped on each other. It was like totally nuts, and if you wanted to watch it, you'd probably laugh hysterically. But
Jim
it
Ross
was great.
broadcast that, right?
Yep.
See, I think he makes that match more than what it actually is because of his enthusiasm, which he did that with a lot of matches. But I mean, that match for that era was pretty good. How about you, Tom?
I picked the Rock versus Mankind match.
That's probably everybody's. Well, that's the most notorious one.
Yeah, I think it's the most notorious. I think it's such a good one because not only was the wrestling good, and Foley took a lot of bumps during that match.
Dude, that bar was set so high, like a typical.
But
Foley
any
match,
Foley
but-
match, he put the bar higher than it ever needed to be. But also the Rock's like commentary during it, like his humor was incredible.
Dude, and that's why The Rock's my favorite. 1999 Rock is my favorite wrestler.
Yeah, I just thought overall that match was a good. It was a good.
What did you like about the ending? Did you like the ending?
Yeah, I mean it was just typical. It was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think that's the best part because you always want to know how is Rock gonna win.
Because
And then that's
Mick
what
Foley
happens.
said that he would have to kill him
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
to beat
That's
him,
awesome.
and that he never lost the I Quit match. I
Exactly.
mean, he lost it, but
Yeah, I mean, like,
he didn't lose it because
it made him look really
his
strong.
fans knew The Rock can't beat him in this.
Exactly.
And it showed
But
people-
but The Rock showed that side of physicality that you know what I
Exactly
mean
what I was
with
about
all
to say.
with all those chair shots, and then you're like, man, I never saw this coming out from The Rock. He might be able to do it with 15 chair shots.
Yeah.
And that's when he fell down. You're like, you obviously didn't sound like it was really him saying I quit, but when you said it, like I believe it because he just took 15 chair shots. You weren't expecting that from The Rock.
and he was out cold.
He was out cold. For me, not gonna lie to you, that is I think the best one. That's obviously it's one of my favorite matches of all time actually, but.
Just the whole thing put together. That storyline was fantastic.
No, it
The
was.
entire feud was
Yeah, it
fantastic.
It really was. It was just to put Rock over like Foley did, and he did it successfully. But just to make a kind of a variety, I have Cena versus JBL. I think it was Judgment Day 2005. I didn't even write it down because I was going to go off of what you did. That match pretty much puts Cena as a legitimate superstar post-Mania, because that's when he won the title from JBL 21. And that's one of the bloodiest matches, I think, in WWE. I think he had a vein or something.
Other than JBL versus Eddie
Guerrero. Something with JBL's chair shots.
JBL was one of the most hardcore wrestlers. In my opinion.
Him and Hardcore Holly are probably one of the stiffest. The most underrated stiffest.
Because what was that like stupid boxing thing they used to do?
Brawl for All.
Brawl for All. JBL start like he was like up Vince McMahon's like.
You know what?
But for like this is awesome. We should just do this all the time.
Yeah, that match is good. The only thing I don't like about it is I kind of like it because it's a JBL ending. It's when Cena has like one of the pipes from the Mack truck and he's getting ready to hit him through the glass and JBL just goes, "I quit." And then Cena still puts him through the glass. I hate that because he still did it, but I really wish he did it and then JBL quit to make it more physical. But typical JBL ending, but the bumps and the physicality in that match was really good. It put Cena over, and JBL showed up for that match as well. So that's our best. What's your worst, Price?
John Cena versus The Miz at Over the Limit.
Nice.
I know that maybe you want to ask Tom what his worst is too.
Yeah, it's the same. And actually, it could have been all three. Like I said, I had two. I had two for everything just to give variety. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too because that was the worst rivalry in WWE history.
And the thing that's terrible about that too is that Miz wasn't bad at that time as a heel.
No, the thing
There's
was
only one better heel than him at that time, which was CM Punk. Other than that, Miz was, I think, the top.
The only thing good about that feud was so horrible because WWE was more concerned about Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they had to make it perfect for The Rock to want to come back and do WrestleMania 29. Come back and make cameos WrestleMania 30, 31. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is.
No, I agree.
Also, before we move on to yours, I just wanted to say that it was not believable that The Miz would win that match.
No. Even
going into
the
it,
Miz is
coming out of it, you knew that the big bad John Cena would never say "I quit."
No, yeah, I mean, you kind of got that vibe, especially after him and Randy Orton "I Quit" match, which was also one of my favorites. But
by far, that was also one of the worst years of wrestling, I think, in history, 2011.
I agree. Worst "I Quit" match for me, I'm not going to talk about it too much because we're running out of time, is Del Rio versus Jack Swagger at Extreme Rules 2013. Reason why is because it shouldn't have been called an "I Quit" match. It should have been called a submission match. They did nothing physical besides a Singapore cane, better known as a kendo stick for Price. But I know that's your favorite weapon of all time. But that's the only weapon they used.
Besides a cookie pan.
No, what?
For him?
Oh, for Price, yeah. I think I meant for the match. But no, that's all they used. They used it for about 2 minutes, and then the rest were just submissions. And it was stupid. This ending was okay with Zeb Coulter throwing the towel, and that's the only thing, I think. But other than that, it was awful. Do you want to do cage? Yeah, we'll do cage match. We'll just go rush through this real quick. Best cage match, Price.
Mine was The Rock versus Mankind versus Ken Shamrock from 1998 because of the fact that all three of them were at the same level. They were about to, all three of them, break on to that main event status. You didn't know who was going to win. Plus, it was a triple threat cage match. You didn't see too many of those.
No.
So that was mine.
I picked the Jimmy Superfly Snuka match versus Don Morocco for the IC belt.
It's a historian pick right there, man.
Yeah, I know, right? I think it's just because that to me defines professional. That's one of those moments that define professional wrestling. Yeah, I mean, Snuka jumping off the cage on Morocco. It's an incredible moment, and that's why I picked it.
That put the cage match, I think, on the map in the mid '80s, especially, or early to mid '80s. Best cage match for me was the Hart match. It was Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. I like the storyline. It was all the Hart family members at ringside. What are they going to do? They're going to let the two Harts fight it out, let the best man win. And Owen was pretty hot at that time. I know everybody says that Owen only got a push because of Bret was there, but Owen was a great wrestler. 1994 was a great year for him to get that push because they were really lacking talent. But that was a really good match. It told a great story. The ending was amazing, too. Worst match, Price.
Warrior versus Rick Rude. Everybody don't kill me. It was a 10-minute match.
You're a Warrior fan, too.
I am a Warrior fan. Warrior fan through and through. It was a 10-minute match, typical Warrior match. It wasn't that great. I mean, Rick Rude only had a couple times that he had offense, and as well, the fans just had a reason to scream their head off. This was the first time that Warrior was defending his title after he beat Hulk Hogan. So
On a main stage.
right, for him to be believable to be losing to Rick Rude.
Yeah. So I thought the match was actually pretty good for a Warrior match. Because
No.
Warrior usually had 3-minute matches, except for, 89 and 90.
Well, he came in, he destroyed, he left. Show's over.
How about you?
I had the worst cage match is the Doomsday cage match that was in WCW. It was the Mega Powers versus the Alliance to end Hulkamania. I was sitting home last night on my computer trying to watch this match, and I couldn't even keep focus on it because there was 3 levels of the cage. So you had 3 different guys fighting, and there was no way to even pay attention to it. It was just another screw up, I think, by WCW.
Yeah, it happens. Typical. It was right before the Monday Night War, so they were still kind of green with it. Go ahead.
I just want to say something I forgot. I just thought about it right now. In an earlier episode, we had to cut out the segment. My worst cage match is the 1988 Bunker House Brawl that Dusty
No,
Rhodes
I
won.
thought we kept that.
No, we didn't. And
R.I.P. Dusty.
R.I.P. Dusty. That was the terrible cage match. I'm sorry. I had to change it. I love the Warrior.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I like you. You saved your Warrior pick. Worst cage match for me: Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 2.
That was awful.
It was awful. King Kong Bundy is big for. He can work well for a big guy, but Hogan was still green, really green. Even though it was WrestleMania 2, they really didn't do anything with the cage. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I like the idea of a cage match at WrestleMania, but just not those two. It should have been something with, you could use aerial moves off it and, wow the crowd. But obviously they're not high flyers by any means. So there's
That was an awful match.
that was awful, especially for WrestleMania main event. So there's our best and worst. Tune in for that. You'll hear that in the future. Now we will go on to our buy or sell. Well, you ready? All right, buy or sell. I'm gonna make a comparison, Malloy. You're either gonna buy it, or you're gonna buy it, which is agree, or you're gonna sell it, disagree. Price, you already know it.
Thanks.
So we'll start off with one.
Thanks, Chris.
John Cena and Rusev rivalry is equivalent to John Cena Umaga rivalry. Price.
Yes, there's too many comparisons. The number one comparison in this, both of them don't wear shoes. So just
Good call.
remember that
Good
one,
call.
okay?
Good call.
But, they had John Cena
Talkers.
just... Yeah, sorry. I need to talk here.
No, I said they had talkers. They had Lana and our
Yeah, they...
Armando Estrada. No, go ahead.
They also they did the turnbuckle spot. It was a last man standing match for Umaga. It was the I Quit match for
I didn't think about
Rusev.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
John Cena won both of these,
Killed both their pushes. Yeah,
so I buy it.
now, do you agree?
I buy the thing.
Oh,
I buy the
okay.
product. I think it's because number one, he had the talkers. He had the 2 managers. It was Rusev couldn't speak English at that point. Well, barely. And Umaga just
Screamed.
that was Umaga.
R.I.P. By the way.
Yes, exactly. And it was just to me, it just both of these were to create Super Cena, make Super Cena better with the Rusev one, and to create Super Cena with the Umaga one, because you have Superman versus a villain.
Yeah.
It's like that's why I think they're very equivalent to each other.
Okay, I have Cell just for argument. I have Hulk Hogan versus Iron Sheik.
It's okay.
But yeah, I won't elaborate too much. Everybody knows that story, that history. Cena is always compared to Hogan. He always will be. Ambrose and Rollins is compared to Rock and Austin. They've had a couple rivalries just like they already, and it's only been year 2 of the breakup, so that's why I compared those two. Buy or sell? I'm not. That was my pick. I just explained why I gave that comparison. Malloy, buy or sell?
I sell the product.
Okay, who do you have?
I would say Ambrose and Rollins are going to be more like Triple H and HBK.
Oh, that's a really good comparison. But that's not what I have. You got me excited.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
was
very
thinking
good-
that
that's a
because
very good comparison.
2 friends turn on each other.
That's awesome.
Then the band gets back together. The band, dude, gets back together, and it's gonna happen. I mean, sooner or later you're gonna see the Shield get back together, or so they're gonna take over on Reigns or something like that. Regardless, I don't think you can compare it to Rock and Austin because no matter how much Rock and Austin was shoved down our throats in the late
It was
90s,
amazing.
early 2000s, as kids growing up in that time, this is amazing. I don't know if as college.
Dude, I've always said
age-
if they want to do a WrestleMania match with Rock vs. Austin, like Rock and Austin 4,
They're gonna sell it.
it's going to sell out. But
That'd be incredible.
it would be incredible. How about you?
Here comes that.
I'm gonna sell
Here
it.
comes Diesel Train.
I'm gonna sell it, and my comparison is Mankind versus The Rock to come full circle here.
That is really good.
You have Mankind, who is the new Mankind is Dean Ambrose, and Rollins is The Rock, as they shove The Rock down our throats with the corporation.
Authority. Yep.
The authority is Seth Rollins. Mankind is the guy who you don't expect to win, the broken down guy, aka Dean Ambrose, who's gonna try to be like, I should be that guy.
Yep.
So that is my comparison for that one. How about you, Rich?
I have Triple H in Austin. That 1999, 2000 feud, depending. Well, 1999 before Austin left for surgery. 2000 when Austin returned for surgery. I always compare Ambrose as the PG era Austin just because of the way he acts and the way he's on the mic, he's raw like that. And then Rollins, he's just that. Triple H at that time in 1999, 2000 was that villain where he can beat you up. He's obviously not as big as Triple H, but he could beat you up, but he was smart about it. He was, he picked his spots, and they've already done this, like I said, twice in a year. At that time, 1999 and 2000, that was done twice in a year, so that's what I have.
Can I say one more thing before we end this part of the buy or sell?
Wait, one more.
Well, just one more about this
Oh,
rivalry.
okay, yeah.
The thing is, though...
Yours is better, though, I might add. I think yours is the best one. For that.
But regardless of that, I think at the end of the day, Ambrose and Rollins, no matter how much it's shoved down my throat, I like that feud. Those two work very well together in the ring.
They do.
Like, versus... I was a fan of the Cena Orton one, but this takes the pie on that.
Nah, I think for me, I like Cena Orton. I just think that year was just rough. Besides them, it was just a rough year.
Yeah.
That's all I like 'em.
I don't care if his is better than mine. This isn't a game.
If it was a game, he would have won. Kevin Owens. This is our next one. Kevin Owens compared to Brock Lesnar. Buy or sell? Price.
I agree with an exception of that Kevin Owens is a better wrestler moveset wise, and Lesnar is just as he looks. He's a beast.
Yeah. Okay. How about you?
I have sell because you have a very popular indie wrestler versus NCAA champion, WWE champion, UFC champion. These two, to me, compete in two different worlds. You have Brock Lesnar, who's all the way at the absolute top. You have Kevin Owens, who's not going to be able to get to the...
How about Brock Lesnar at 2002?
No.
The push and stuff? No?
No, because Kevin Owens isn't the next big thing.
But who are you comparing him to, though?
Would you compare to anybody?
Honestly, at this moment, I could compare his style of wrestling to maybe a Mick Foley, the way he throws his body around, the way his body built is. Not his personality or anything. It's completely different.
You're talking about moves.
Yeah, but together, I think Kevin Owens on his own is a completely different character that I've really never... He's just
But it was aerial moves. I can completely agree.
If
You can compare him to Umaga if you want to go aerial. Umaga can move.
No, I agree with Tom on this one. He is a...
Yeah, but he's not hardcore. I mean, if obviously hardcore matches.
What he said if he had to compare him to somebody, he would have to compare him to Mick Foley.
Or
but
Bully
he
Ray
said-
Dudley.
But
If you watch him in TNA.
But
Oh, and
however, what he said was like he's a character that you've never seen before, and that's the mystique about him.
Yeah, that's why I like him. He's different to me.
Okay, I'll give you that. I have buy just because, especially since I just came to my mind, the 2002 push of Brock Lesnar. Next big thing, Owens is already going to be main event in SummerSlam, and
Oh yeah, he'll be a main event wrestler. I could even see a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania.
And Lesnar could actually wrestle besides giving suplexes. I mean, obviously he still could wrestle, but I mean he's just known for suplexes now. Lesnar could actually do moves in 2002. Maybe not aerial like Kevin Owens, but
Yeah, I hope he doesn't try to do another what was a splash or what did he do? Broke his neck.
the
Shooting star
press.
yeah.
He definitely won't do that ever again. So that's our buy and sell. That'll be in a couple weeks too. Let's move on to our self high five.
Evolution is a mystery, full of change that no one sees.
Okay, this week's self high five. The next wrestler or group of wrestlers, whatever, like New Day or a tag team, to join the Authority. We are starting with Price.
My 5-1 is John Cena because we could all have hope that one day John Cena will turn. Number 4, the Ascension because of the fact that it would give them something to do and they are a great tag team. They need to be pushed at some point. Number 3, New Day because they're so hot and they're evil New Day. So, I mean, they'd be a perfect fit. Number 2, Bad News Barrett so that he could finally get a push. He's a bad guy. He's also King of the Ring winner. Number 1, Sheamus because we all know that he is friends with Triple H and the fact that he's an okay wrestler. He's towards the end. He's an established wrestler. He's an established character. So he should get it.
How about you, Moore?
My top 5 goes with number 5 being Charlotte. They need a diva in there. I think they need a diva bad girl, and Charlotte has close connection to Triple H because of Ric Flair and Evolution.
Okay.
Number 4, the New Day, because like Price said, they're evil New Day. Number 3 would be Roman Reigns, because sooner or later he's going to become a bad guy. Or number 2,
the last 5 months, making me look terrible.
2 is Ambrose.
Okay.
And number 1, most relevant, like Price said, is Sheamus. Because Sheamus is, like, he's already working with him. You see on SmackDown, like, he'll come out. I think he helped Kane win a match or something like that. Yeah.
Ambrose, yeah.
Well, I just wrote mine down as you guys are talking, and we all have number 1, the same person, unfortunately. But number 5, I have New Day. Number 4, I have Ambrose. Number 3, I have Reigns, just because I'm craving that heel turn. Number 2, I have Orton, because I always think that, like how Triple H is to Flair, I think Orton is to Triple H. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
No matter what they do to each other, he still somehow comes back to Triple H.
Exactly, as a mentor. And then number 1, I have Sheamus, and that's whenever he cashes in, it's going to be because the authority told him to. That's my opinion. And that's when I think Rollins will go babyface. Fella. So that's the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Please follow us on Twitter. We're all over social media. Follow us on Twitter. Handle is @PriMalLow Show. We're on Facebook. We have our own page, which is the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. We are also on SoundCloud, PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Thank you. I actually forgot to write that one down. And then ask us any questions or, give us some feedback, anything you guys want. We have a couple questions here, right?
We have one question this week.
Well, I'm going to add on one because he had 2, right? But
He had 2 questions. They're from my good buddy Tom Walsh, a.k.a. A6. His first question was, what do you think was the best road to WrestleMania?
What do you think will be?
What do you think will be? We're going to do that a little bit later down the road. However, we're going to give our...
For me, it's kind of ironic that you asked that question because I just showed I showed Malloy when we were watching Raw yesterday. I made up a card in like 5 minutes because I always compare me to Mel Kiper in NFL. He always does an NFL draft like 3 years down the road. For me, after WrestleMania, say 31 was over, I focus on 32. That's just how I go. I don't know why. I just like it. I'm so excited for WrestleMania. I'm a big fan. So yesterday at work, and he didn't give me this question yet. I just got it today. I wrote a card down, but I'm going to give you one because, like Price said, in a couple weeks or months, we're going to obviously dissect that more. But one match I have written down is Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the U.S. title. Reason why is because Sami Zayn said at an NXT taping, which you'll see in July, that he's going to be out until either late 2015 or early 2016. So what I would have as creative is this is because I'm planning that Shield triple threat match.
Yeah.
So Owens obviously is not going to be a part of that. I have Owens in the Rumble looking strong, like Wyatt was this year. Maybe eliminate 5 or 6 people.
Right.
Zayn comes out as a return, eliminates Owens. There's your build to WrestleMania. That's one match. I mean, obviously, is that real? I mean, you could see that happening, but I mean, will it? Maybe not.
All right, for myself, since I'm a huge Triple H fan, I'm going to see Triple H Rock, if that actually happens, and how that would boil down.
Okay.
In my opinion, I could see at SummerSlam, Triple H versus Rollins. Maybe like The Rock comes out and gives Triple H a rock bottom, slowly goes out of the ring, Rollins wins. They could start from there.
Anything else? Do you want to say it or no?
What I really want to see, and I think this will actually happen on the pre-show, Tyson Kidd versus Samoa Joe in a break-your-neck match. Pre-show match.
That's effed up, man. Very effed up. What's his next one?
He had another question. He said, your favorite SummerSlam match.
Yeah, the month of August, we'll probably do our self-high fives, all different segments of SummerSlam. But just to give one, just to answer the question. For me, I'd have to dissect it. I have 2 off the head. It would be CM Punk versus Lesnar. That was 2 years ago. And then the TLC match in 2000 with Edge Christian and the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys.
All right, I have 2 of them also. More recently, I would say Randy Orton versus Reigns. That was a good match.
That was a very underrated match.
Very underrated match. Very good match. And then Lesnar versus not Rob Van Dam. Sorry about that. Lesnar versus The Rock. That really put Lesnar on the map. Created the next big thing, like Paul Heyman said he was. It was a good good match.
Somebody should have stole that title in that match.
I always tell you that. Somebody should have.
And for mine, my favorite SummerSlam match is Triple H versus The Rock, the ladder match. I think that was a great stepping stone for both characters. And later on, they both were competing for the world title.
Yep, they're going to be Hall of Famers. Well, we're the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. We thank you guys for tuning in every week, and we'll be sure to, give new episodes every week, like I just said. So tune in next week for episode 13. You guys want to do your weekly sign-offs?
I'm out.
Here comes the pain.
And see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in.
Bella.